How you doing, mate?
Hey man, I'm alright, how are you?
I'm good, man. You?
Yeah, good. Is this clear? I've got the shitty headphones again.
Yeah, it's all looking good.
Oh yeah? You've got a new microphone, have you? Sounds good.
I've got a new microphone. I've got a 1080 camera.
Yeah, it's very clear. It is very clear.
Yes, and so I'm very happy actually with the setup. I've got a ring light as well.
I've seen that video. That's one of the last ones I've seen. The ring, you got the ring light. That's alright.
Yeah, so all set up and ready to go for the new site, which should be opening any day now. I keep saying
I,
that, but
I was going to ask you about it, Aaron, actually. I tried to register on there,
yeah.
but it's not none of it was it wasn't working just yet, I didn't think, or it wasn't logging through.
No, that's right. And so there's just a few technical issues to be addressed behind the scenes, and then it'll be up and running. But
Looks great though, man, huh? Good job.
Yeah, it's very nice, and there's 18 videos there already. Can you see the videos?
I think I can. Wait a second.
Yeah, it's just that you can't enter them apparently.
It says that they're there, yeah, but don't they just play through YouTube from the main site, or they're on Vimeo, are they?
Yeah.
Ah, okay, that'd be why.
Yeah.
Sometimes you need to log in for that sort of stuff, but
yeah,
so maybe that's what it is. I don't know though.
that's right.
Loads to tell you about. Obviously, last time I was going to speak to you, I had to back out on you because my grandfather kicked the bucket right before, 3 days before Christmas.
Right.
And coming from a big Irish Catholic family, you know how serious that is when someone departs. It's taken quite seriously. So I had to get back back from Germany to Northern Ireland within there was the funeral was all done within 30 hours. So it was a crazy Christmas period for sure. And then maybe an enlightening one. I was thinking about this funny quote actually. Did you ever see that Ram Dass quote? So when you think you're enlightened, go spend 7 days with your family. Have you seen that?
No, I haven't seen that one, but I like that one. Yeah. Wow, 7 days. I couldn't do it.
Yeah, it's tough.
Wow.
It's pretty tough.
Yeah, I couldn't do it. But having said that, what does my family consist of? Really, a daughter and brothers and sisters who I just don't see. And
I think you've made it quite clear as well. The sort of the last time we touched on this quite a bit, didn't you? We kind of spoke about this idea of morality, and that obviously you'd be gutted for your daughter, but not so much.
Yeah.
Your brothers and sisters.
They're just people that I knew, and I guess I know a little bit, and that's it really.
Yeah.
Your family, they potentially are the most critical of you. They're the most scathing because they have license to be.
Yeah.
They think they know you. But
Yeah.
This is the issue now, that they are still operating on programs which are 30 years old. And they haven't been with me when I've been around the world and done so many things and evolved so much and learnt so much. They have still been in the same house, doing the same shit job, ratting around basically. They got a few little circuits of streets which they go to, corner shop, pick up some fags, supermarket, get the weekly groceries in, and then work, and then that's it. And they think they know something. And you can't reason with them.
Well, I remember last time we were saying how it's so easy for sometimes maybe family members, sometimes even close friends, to sort of point the finger at you and tell you how you should do something as they polish off some cider and smoke a packet of fags. That's the irony. I think how some people can get their own projections so wrong. But it's I don't know where I've seen this, but someone speaking about the human condition that it is to tell other humans what we think is good for people. You know what I mean? And that can be at the very core of a lot of fucking problems, is the idea that we know better all the time, constantly knowing better or thinking we know better. I mean, that's like the revelation of the ego, isn't it? In a way.
Yeah, and it's this constant projecting that people have, because they have never settled within themselves to ask whether they actually do know anything. Question their knowledge. They've never questioned their knowledge. They just assume that they know something, and that's it. And so yeah, I don't bother. I've got something weird going on with Ava. Hang on, I'm just gonna cancel that.
No worries.
That solved the problem. Yes. So I was walking on the beach today, as I always do, and a few thoughts went out to my brothers and sisters. You see, I have 11 brothers and sisters, but I've only ever been close to 2. The eldest ones, 1 brother, 1 sister. But I'm absolutely, completely and utterly indifferent about whether I ever would see them again, because there is nothing there except the memories, memories which just don't serve any rhyme or reason these days, because they just don't relate. They were from another person. They're from another time. They were from another situation, and there's no point in keep bringing those forward for the vast majority of the time. If people don't evolve, then they never change, and then what they did 10 years ago is very highly likely that they'll still do that shit tomorrow.
But I mean, there's like, the reason we have these conversations is because how often do you, in your sort of walking life, physically into someone who has put themselves through enough stuff to have changes like that, So it's easy to be critical of family, but because family are sort of stuck, like my family in Northern Ireland are so stuck in a narrative, mate, and it's been going on way more than 30 years, mate. They're all in each other's Catholic families. We're talking 5 uncles, 4 aunties,
Yeah.
Fucking all in each other's business, mate, day in, day out, all speaking the same shit, somehow trying to slaughter each other, and they all just got slapped a heavy one, mate, when now my grandfather's passed away, because he was the kind of core of the way they socialized. And
right.
Geez, they look like they've been hit by a meteorite, mate. Now, I'm not particularly close to that side of my family, because my mother was that connection to all of the Irish side, and obviously she passed away last year, so I just go there now because my dad's over there, and I'm keeping the company, and I was staying there for Christmas, and the timing was all wrong, but I just couldn't believe it, mate. Right, I'll tell you something here. After the funeral, we went to just do like a kind of snacks and nibbles and stuff where everyone could get together. Everyone turned up, mate. Yeah. Even in that one fucking moment, Aaron, this blew my mind, eh? Even in that one moment, some aunts and uncles couldn't sit together for whatever was going on.
For shit that went down 20 years ago.
Yeah, exactly, mate. For like, I couldn't believe it. Stuff that had gone on years ago. Your father has just passed over. Surely here's a moment in time where you can all sit at the same table. You wouldn't believe it, Aaron. Like, some of them that were sitting over there, I was here, nieces and nephews, sons and stuff over there. Well, it was mad. Absolutely mad. Yeah. And I wanted to think that was because they're all having a tough day, but the truth was it was just all for stuff. It's just all for the shenanigans of talking about each other, So, yeah, that's burdens my ass to see all that,
Yeah, my sister, she's got issues with our stepmother, who is still alive, and of course every time there's a wedding or a funeral, something of this nature, then she's always there, and invariably my sister always is like furious that, if I see that bitch, I'm gonna fucking let her have it this time. And I'm like, can you see what is going on within you?
Yeah.
That bitch did this and that bitch did that. And so, yeah, that bitch did traumatize her when she was a kid. But what's happened now is that bitch, she got over it a long time ago. But my sister, she carries it with her every single day. And it's been festering and rotting inside. And it has a lot to do with her never moving on, ever evolving from that kid that she was. You know, it was the proverbial wicked stepmother. And my sister, she was the eldest girl, and she was my dad's favourite, and so she used to get it, you know. But as much as I tried to get through to my sister and say that the hate that you are encompassing, that's destroying you.
Yeah, totally.
Just because you think that, you know, you're getting at her, maybe saying a few things to the family and it's getting back to her, you think, oh, that's doing, you know, her some harm. Well, you know, maybe she gets a little bit off or sad about it for about 5 minutes, but then she'll move on, forget about it, while you still carry it with you. And it's eating you away. Can't you see what it's doing to you, woman? Wouldn't you feel better by just having a resolve on it, and the next time you see her, go, whoa, crazy days we had. But, you know, we're all adults. It was 30 years ago. Whatever.
Yeah, totally. I mean, yeah, holding that stuff down, you know, pain and anger in that way for that amount of time.
Yeah,
you know,
and then
it can't be healthy.
Yeah, there's a massive cathartic release that goes on, but lots of people they dearly want to hold on to it purely because they can't forget, and that they want to remain hating because they think that other person deserves to be hated. Okay, well, maybe they do, but do you deserve to harbour the energy of hate? Because if you hate somebody, it's always in your mind, it's always at the back of your mind, and it will pop up like this and pop up like that, and you can never emancipate yourself from it. And so this is just, you know,
therapy, it's true, man.
And you know, psychoanalysis, that it should be really something that every human does, because every single human being almost is a broken human being.
Yeah, totally. I'm starting to realize that a lot lately. I mean, I went through a period of time where I was like a pretty angry person, not in a sort of like outlashing, you know, pissed off young man kind of way, not at all, but I just felt anger sometimes, you know. Like I'd be sitting in work and I'm a big overthinker, Aaron, about everything, absolutely everything, and I'd be sitting there overthinking things, thinking about the way someone has even spoke to me, you know, like 3 hours previously, you know, and just like taking this liberty that I had the right to be pissed off about that, but not get up and just turn around and go to that person and be like, hey, listen, I'm not actually that impressed about what you just said to me earlier, you know. So I'd sit there with it for a day, you know, let it come in and out and fucking give me outrageous anxiety, and you know, and I very quickly realized that this is my flaw, 100%. My flaw, my one flaw. Like many people come on this channel, Aaron, to speak about depression and anxiety. You know, as we spoke about this last time, it's almost one of the core reasons for shifting your own paradigm into a spiritual one and trying to pursue such a path, right?
Yeah.
But definitely, I realized my flaw and how many fucking problems this has given me is never sticking up for myself enough. You know,
right?
Always being too nice on the outside but hurting on the inside. You know. And I don't, you know, dare I say to anyone, I'm not saying, hey, be a mean person bad to anyone. No, don't. But don't be a fucking doormat either and get trampled over, you know.
Yeah.
Finding that equilibrium inside for your soul, where you're not getting stumped on, but you're also not letting people let you carry around and harbor that anger, because that brought me into all kinds of headspaces, mate. And I think holding in hate makes you physically sick, like. You know, like my big problem is health anxiety, mate. I have it, comes and goes, you know, complete health anxiety. You know, just always worried. I think it's a combination of losing one of my best mates and my mother in such a close amount of time, and sort of becoming a bit sort of aware of my own morality.
Yeah,
I think that's part of it, because I'm like, fuck me, I could go any day here, you know.
Yeah,
and in combination with also just sometimes trying to be a nice person to everybody I meet. absolutely everybody, even the ones that when I walk away from, I feel tired, you know, because they're like a vampire for energy. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's also not the way either. And telling myself doing that's the right thing is not necessarily a spiritual and enlightening thing at all. It is also problematic. So I'm looking for this kind of balance. Like I can go back and spend time with my family and put myself on the outside of that and not let any of it take me down. Sure, it's tiring, Aaron. Fucking right, it's tiring, mate. But I don't find that as problematic as people just being stand-up rude or speaking to you differently, or like, look, I told you this last time, but I work, you know, in an office, right? And the office mentality is just chit, shite, you know.
Yeah.
And you've always got to hear things through never from the horse's mouth, mate. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just through the grapevine, and it's just exhausting to be in that environment a lot, mate. It's exhausting, and I need to get myself out of it, mate. Really, you know, just come past January. Christmas is one of those I think January is one of those times where people feel naturally a bit like, you know, January's an awfully shit time to want to do anything. You know, just not. But I've just realised lately, it's like if I go to this office and throw away 8-9 hours a day into this every day, it's gonna fucking put me in an early grave. You know, it will. There's no doubt about it. I mean, I need to ship this.
Yeah, this is a good message for, you know, the viewers, because how many of us just resign ourselves to a particular life because you just go, oh, well, what else can I do? I suppose I'm lucky to have this job. You know, could I get another job, or could I, you know, be bothered to move town or to another environment and all this sort of thing? For me, all that stuff is always been very, very easy. And I was speaking to a woman in the gym today, and I was saying to her that I'm going to be moving this place now. Last time she saw me, a few days ago, I was happy as Larry in this apartment building, and I was thinking that I'm going to be here right until the end of June. But what's happened is that they're starting a construction right next door, and it's going to be a twin building like this, and so the noise is going to be immense throughout the whole of the year. And so I've just decided I'm not having that. I'm going to bag up my stuff, I'm going to get on the train, and I'm going to do one. Obviously, before I'll float around the internet to see what other towns in the north of this country that I can go to, really quiet old towns, not holiday resorts, therefore there's no big construction going on all the time. I'm prepared to do that, and it's water off a duck's back for me. But this woman looked at me as if to go, what, you're just going to move just because there's noise next door? And I'm like, just because there's noise next door, that is a fucking perfect reason to move. You know, why do I want to put up with that for the next whole year? They'll start at the crack of dawn, you know, say like 5 a.m. in the summer months. It gets too hot at midday. Sure. You know, they'll have a long siesta, so they'll get the early hours in. And so, all this business, you know, and people are just going to swallow that, and they're going to go, oh, well, no. I mean, I'm not like that. I'm not about to eat that sort of shit. And so... Yeah, just have choices. I've never worked in an office, but I can well imagine the stifling environment it is when you've got people that have been there years and years, all different varieties of times, and then you get somebody new come, and all the bollocks that just goes on and on and on, and everybody releasing their shit from their dull lives and any number of things like this. I couldn't stand that for a fucking day, mate.
Listen, mate, I'll be honest with you, mate. When I started doing what I do, because my work is interesting, I'm not lodged in a cubicle. I haven't got someone asking me to clock in and clock out. Not at all. I completely govern my own day. It's just I happen to have to sit down a lot and work at a computer a lot, you know.
Yeah.
So that's obviously that's really the problem. I mean, I would never do a job where someone's like, hey, you clocked in at 3 minutes past 10 this morning. I'd be like ciao, that it is, because that's not an office, mate. That's a fucking concentration camp. That's what that is. That's completely different. But it is just, there is a lot of mentality in there where you can sort of see that I mean, you know, people like myself have been doing it a bit too long, and chit chat, and it's just, you know, having you crunched over a desk all day, you know, looking into a computer screen of, you know, churning out the job for the man, you know, per se is a problem. However, like I just, the idea of getting up and dropping everything, like leaving everything and just being like, right, I'm just gonna fuck off over here, is a big struggle for me. You know, I want to do it, you know, like I want to go traveling by myself, or definitely want to sack this off, but I just start worrying about, like, you know, I put all the other pieces in, like, where am I going to live, how am I going to pay for that, I've still got to pay off before I can go there, you know. How am I going to find somewhere there? Am I going to be, you know, I just be like, fuck, am I going to be on the street for it? You know, this kind of stuff. So then I overthink, then I bring it back in all the anxiety
and all your fears and
yeah.
anxieties end up closing the door, wrapping the chains around you, binding you up, and so you continue probably in a very, very similar environment like the vast majority of people do for the rest of your lives. I wonder, you know, and I don't get a lot of feedback in relation to it, because it seems to me that people, they really lack the ability to express themselves or to be true to themselves. But I just wonder what the fuck people make of my life doing what I do, when everybody who's looking in, the majority of them, if they're not on benefit, then they're doing some sort of shit job in a shit dull city in weather. Don't they just think to themselves, I don't care whatever's gonna become of me, I'm fucking leaving, and I'm going to the sun, and I'm gonna be free, I'm gonna stick some clothes in a bag, and I'm gonna take whatever money I can get, I'll get a job there, fucking hell, they're all human beings, they've all got the same shops and the same stuff, I'm sure I can do it there, but it just doesn't seem possible for the vast majority of people. What do you see when you see
what do I
life?
What, that you have?
Yeah.
I think you've also gone through enough shit though, mate, to line yourself up for it, if you don't mind me saying.
Yeah.
Like, if I flogged a property in Bulgaria, Aaron, I'd be straight out of here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you've already put in the groundwork, mate, of, you know, the property business you're in. Not everyone's in that, mate, you know? And obviously the reward of being in the industry of owning, you know, when it goes right, a fairly good substantial package, you know? Whereas people that are working in the sort of 9 till 6 scene are trying to do this off the back of salaries, or maybe even worse, on an hourly rate, you know, which they have to be like, fuck, I've done 8 hours today, I'm probably gonna have to do 12 at some point in this week, and then that's gonna fuck up if I'm sick, I'm fucked, you know. You know, it's society just crushes you down, man, and packages this idea that you have to do this, and it's monetized. It is monetized, mate. Listen, one of the guys I love the most at the moment is Martin Bull, the 5-methoxy DMT guy. You know, right. He goes around teaching like how, you know, it's the strongest psychedelic, and you'll find true enlightenment. But he's also like, but you should still always have a job, you know, because unfortunately, society is monetized.
Well,
you know?
You're still going to be on the world at the end of the day, because
you're still going to be on the world, mate.
You know, you can take this 5-MeO, and you can realise you're just space dust and the ultimate consciousness and this, that, and the other. But then when it wears off, you are in a house that you've got a mortgage on, or a flat that you've got a tenancy agreement with. You've got a fucking job and a car outside, and maybe you've got a wife and family, and so. This is the nature of it. You see, what I asked the question, and I've been, sort of trying to get people to come forward and, sort of tell their perspective on this. And I did a video, and it was kind of like, can we ever change from the person we are? Can ever become somebody? And I really think that it is almost neon possible. Neon. What do you
Nigh
say?
on possible.
Nigh on impossible. Yeah. And when I look at myself, I am like I am, and I'm doing what I'm doing because my previous existence depicted this. I couldn't be anything else. I really couldn't be anything else. I'll give you 50 grand if you can work in an office, help me with some shit. I couldn't. If I thought, well, 50 grand, I'd be there a few days, and I think, well, fucking hell, what's the point in having this 50 grand if I'm stuck here all the time? That don't make sense to me. I want to get walking in the woods and on the beaches and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, totally.
And so
totally.
It just doesn't equate. There's been so many times, and I've done this all my life, as soon as I've got a few quid in my pocket, even if I've had a job, I thought, fuck it, I don't care. I want to go and get a job in another country. And one of the stories that I've told a few times is just that I had £600 once, and I don't know how long ago, this was 20 years ago, something like that, and I thought, well, fuck it, I'm tired of working construction, I'm going to fuck off. And so I went into a travel agent's and I said, where can I get for £300? And there's quite a few places, and one of the places was Canada. And I used to live in Canada because I went over with a friend of mine when he emigrated for 6 months. Mm-hmm. And so I thought, well, I'll go back there. I'm kind of like familiar with that, place. And so I bought a ticket and I just fucking landed in an airport in Canada. I came out the airport and I went, I'm here now. What am I going to do? I thought, well, first thing I best do is try and get some lodgings. So I said to the taxi driver, take me to the nearest hostel. Took me to a hostel. And then I'm thinking, well, around the hostel, I'm going to meet young people, what they're doing for work, a bit of chit-chat, is there any casual jobs going, this, that, and the other. Yes, anyway, yeah. I bought a mountain bike, and then I was buying the newspaper every day. I was visiting the job centre, and within 2 weeks, I landed 3 jobs on the same day. 2 jobs in the construction and 1 job working for a yacht charter company. I took that one. It was out in the sun, washing boats, helping the marine mechanic, getting to drive around a little bit on these millionaire yachts when you take them out for a test run or go to fuel them up and this, that, and the other. I just did it. And I wasn't bothered about what I'm going to leave and what I'm going to come back to and what I'm going to find there. There's just something that I wanted to experience. And I wasn't really bothered what it was. I knew it just wasn't what I was doing. And so that is my nature. And I've always... And I really struggle with the insecurities and reservations that people have because I've never had them. And I've never been this variety of person that has become dependent on something or has got insecurity about something. Fuck it.
But you don't. But you do this a lot. You do this a lot, Aaron. A lot of your videos are you come across in this way where you're like, I just can't understand. Like you're like, am I getting through to you? You do this. This is a thing, isn't it? Right? This is definitely a trend in your videos. But it's almost a little bit. Don't take this as a criticism. It's almost that you expect is that every soul should be like you.
Well,
or at least as committing.
Well, you see, what I do expect from people is to have some sort of deep desire, determination to change the life that they're living now. Because if they don't, what the fuck are they doing listening to me? Yeah. I'm Mr. Motivator. I'm the one that's talking about all their shit that they're denying every single day and the sad and pathetic lives that most people are living. I'm the one that's bringing it to the attention because I'm a serving suggestion. And I'm saying, look, people, this is a life you can make. You have to work fucking hard, don't get me wrong. 20 years I worked fucking hard. I used my loaf and I never worked for no cunt. I did it myself because I was determined that I'm going to buy back my freedom. And so I just consider it my prerogative to speak from this vantage point because
totally.
If people are coming to see what I'm doing, I'm telling you how to do it. And I'm telling you also, don't fuck with yourself. Don't get, telling yourself fucking lies and don't get building up these fucking fears that don't exist into something big that's going to stop you doing what you want to do and living your life because they don't fucking exist outside of your imagination. And this is the thing that people can't get around, that they don't exist.
This is so control. The mind is so powerful, though, isn't it? First of all, to end that one, people also found you and your channel and this community because they're certainly thinking about it, mate. Right?
Yeah.
You didn't wander in here because you had the perfect life. That's what people will be thinking, right?
Yeah.
So that's that as well, mate. I mean, different, horses for courses, Aaron, mate. Different people wander in and have these epiphanies, these realizations that things need to change at various different groups. I got away from the UK, at 21 with £600 in my pocket. Luckily, I had, a girlfriend I could come and stay with here in Germany at the time. But I didn't have a job, mate, and I bust my bollocks for 2 weeks till I got a job.
Yeah, so you did that, and now you are living a different variety of life in a different culture. It sounds exciting from the offset, but evidently the excitement's wore a bit thin now. So maybe
it's been here a long time. I've been here now nearly coming up for 4 years. So, and when I first got here as well, man, I scored a couple of internships where somebody would throw me €350, and I'd be working full-time hours,
Yeah.
I'd do anything for money, man, and then from that I went on to another internship where someone gave me €780 a month, and I just climbed the ladder, mate, and I got tired, and I was going to go back to the UK with my tail between my legs, and then I was like, I'm going to give it one more fucking throw at this company that I really liked that was, completely related to my education and stuff. Got in there, mate, got in the door, and then started making some, respectable money, But even now, here I am now, a couple of years on from that. And now thinking about the bigger picture, like watching your videos and stuff and being like, yeah, how can I can't do this forever. I'm fucking, I'm just turned 27, mate. And I generally have a shit back from sitting down too often,
Yeah.
Like, can't be having that. No way, man. I've got to get up there, I've got to
people that sit down die a whole lot sooner than people who
are active, of course.
Are active, and it's not just about the activity. Apparently, the tests have revealed something else. It's just the fact that you're sitting down. There's a mental thing about it. Your body's giving up.
Yeah, I bet it.
Your mind and your body's giving up. I was coming up from the beach today, and you have to go down the 67 steps, and very often I'm meeting people, whether I'm going down or whether I'm coming up, that are hanging on to the rail. They're barely a year older than me.
I know, mate.
They've got big gut out here. They've never done a day's exercise in their lives. And I'm thinking, holy fuck, how did it come to that? Sitting down in an office, not caring about the future, that one day, if they're lucky, they're going to fucking be there. And it's going to come as a big surprise. Holy fuck, I can't fucking walk. I can't climb more than 20 stairs without hyperventilating and almost passing out. It's unbelievable.
It is unbelievable. That is unbelievable. They say that depression is the current endemic in the world. Is that the right word? Endemic? Fuck knows. But
yeah,
they say that depression in Western societies also including things like Japan, because it's in Southeast Asia. It's a Western society.
Yeah.
They're all in fucking cubicles, glued onto their iPhones and looking at social media, man.
Yeah.
Guilty. I'm potting kettle here, right? I'm doing a pot and kettle job, but these are all problems, man. That person can climb the fucking stairs because, like you say, you deteriorate, mate. You fucking deteriorate, mate. Like, I generally think that. Like, that's definitely one of the reasons why I think I get, like, my health anxiety from, and I fucking hate it, mate. Absolutely hate it. And I want to make those changes. I want to put all the loans I've ever had behind me, to get to this point, and then just be like, this penny is mine. I've got my deposit locked up in this apartment. Fucking chow. Yeah. Definitely. That is definitely my game. And that is definitely one of the biggest attractions of this channel. So this is coming from me, mate. Yeah, but you're also in fucking good shape, Aaron, as well. You're down the gym every day. But you've also got the gift of the gift of time, because you've earned your free time, mate. You haven't got someone being like, I need you here from 10 till 7:30. When you get out at 7:30, you've given yourself this, like, you'll get home, have something to eat. You're not going to want to run down the swimming pool, go to the gym. The hardest thing, and motivation doesn't come easy, man. so hard for the human mind to absorb motivation if you're not a particularly practical person or a creative person. You're not normally like flowing and stuff like that, and you just zoned out all day on your fucking phone and stuff. That's gonna be a killer. Of course, that is gonna be a killer. Massively. Well, it's tragic to see like that.
Yeah, I tell you what I did the very, very beginning. I looked at what was available for me in this world, and due to the way I was brought up, my old man was a wide boy. He was an entrepreneur. He was a self-made man, and for the last 40 years of his life, he was self-employed, had his own motor trading business. He was always an entrepreneur with many, many other facets, and he could lend his hand to anything. And so I grew up with him as my tutor. And so I learned the stuff that he could do, the entrepreneurial skills and all this sort of thing. And so I thought to myself, well, the office environment, that is for somebody who is an intelligent creature to me. And so I'm not going to be doing that. But even if I decided that I would maybe consider that, I wouldn't have done it for the sole reason that it was very, very important for me to be active. And so what I wanted to do then, I wanted to do manual work. And so I went in and I was doing labouring for about the first 10 years. I never went to college to learn any of these trades. But when you labour for people over the broad spectrum, because you're there all the time, you're watching, you're learning. And so even though you've not got, you've not got the facility to lay bricks because you've not done it, you know exactly how it's done. And I knew exactly how to build roads, build bridges, build houses from scratch, everything. I wasn't too stupid that I couldn't read the plans, and I was always talking to the engineer about the nanometers and the measurement with the theodolite and how this works and how that works and how do you start building anything. You see, if you're going to start building anything in any single city, there's always a central point that you take your measurement from. And this is, they have like a brass tacks in the town hall square, and then you've got other brass tacks around the city, and these brass tacks are measured down to the nanometer, and all the whole city is planned based on those measurements. And so you take your measurements then and you extend them, doesn't matter how far around the globe you do that. And so whenever you start to build a house or build a housing estate, the plan is absolutely critical to a couple of measurements that you've got coming from other cities. And so I learned a great deal about this. And but being active as well as keeping my eyes open and being savvy about it, that was really, really important, because I wanted to kill two birds with one stone. I wanted to keep fit and strong, always very important to me. I wanted to earn money and I wanted to learn. So I did the three things, and I never ever was the sort of person that said, "Oh, I can't be bothered to go to the gym tonight," or I feel a bit tired. No, I would always find the energy due to my sheer desire and discipline. Absolute fucking sergeant major with myself. Discipline. I've been in gyms for 45 years.
Yeah.
And so it's just down to the constitution of the individual person. And when I'm sort of it's in the hope that a little bit of it will rub off on people,
Yeah.
And most of the people, my viewers, they appreciate my delivery, which is tough love. It's the tough love delivery, because if it's soft love, if it's infinite utter stuff, that just washes straight over, and nobody ain't never going to do fucking jack shit about their shit.
Yeah, fair point. I can see what you're saying there. I can see what you're saying.
Yeah, it's down to intention. You see, I focus a great deal on intention. Intention. Your power, your consciousness, you're a human being. There's no other creature, from what we really know, in this whole fucking cosmos that has got this level of intelligence. Isn't that enough to build you up to feel like you're a fucking Superman every single day of your life? I do. Jonathan. And this is why I exude so much energy, because I realize what's going on here. I learn about this body. I look at the molecular structure. I look at the atomic structure of the world. I look at the crazy fucking stuff that goes on. I look at the figures. 1 in a gazillion chance of us being here. Fucking do something with it.
Yeah.
God damn it.
Yeah.
You know, this is why I get passionate about it.
Yeah.
Because it's an incredible thing. This world is absolutely incredible when you've got the time to fucking look, or you got the interest.
Yeah, that's totally it, man. I use that one a lot on myself. I'm like, wow, or like sometimes I'll just be like, having a conversation with someone, I'd be like, that person might be a bit low. And I always use that when I'm a bit low. I'm like, what are the fucking odds, man? Like, what are the odds of this? You know? Whatever this is, man, like we're always talking about it, aren't we? You know, like this reality, you know, how is it really, is this an individual's projection and it's all solipsist, you know, is fucking Aaron Berry real, you know, or is that all in here? Or, you know, vice versa. But whatever, I use that a lot and be like, you know, you could be, this is going to sound really silly, if it's all one conscious, as the nature of mind and psychedelics would point to, then the odds of you being a rock for a million fucking years are high too. To be blessed to have the autonomy and dexterity of being in human form is you've got to stand up and be like, well, fuck, you know? Because food didn't taste good because you were supposed to have success and happiness and love and joy. Those things it isn't enjoyed by rock, is it? You know, those things are enjoyed in the human form. So this depiction of consciousness or reality surely has to be the one that you have to go out and enjoy the most. You know. Yeah. And that's why people who aren't doing that are probably falling sick and they're worked into the ground. You know.
And when you look at it, all the other species that are on this planet, it doesn't matter what they are, just look at them. Look at the snake, look at the grasshopper, look at the fly, look at the lizard, look at the gazelle, look at the lion, look at the rhinoceros. All of these creatures, they don't even come close to being this super being that we are. And so, if nothing else, again, look at that and go, well, fuck me, how is it that I'm king of the castle? How is it that I'm top of the food chain? How is it that I've got these fingers that are so dexterous that can manufacture the tiniest of pieces of a watch, and we can build these intricate fucking machines, and we can gauge time, and we can measure this universe, on and on and on and on. I don't get it why people don't have passion. Why they just can't realize, I'm bored.
You know,
shit.
But that's the pang, isn't it? You know, we're always wondering, like, that's like, remember when Terence McKenna said at any one given point, he said that only half the people could be awake, and not fucking everybody, because if everybody was, we wouldn't be, you know. I wouldn't be in an I wouldn't be like in an office job if everyone was awake. You see, that'd be impossible. There wouldn't be wars and fighting and crime if everyone was awake. So McKenna was like, at any one given point, only half of us can be, because the yin and yang is the struggle. That's got to apply here, because if we were all bang on the money, you know, or if we're all having these epiphanies every day, you wouldn't go and break your back for somebody. You know, you'd probably help someone. You'd probably pick somebody up. You know, and then life gets flourished and overjoyed and stuff, you know. And you work this back as well. If everyone's healthy, everyone is healthy, then there's no disease, there's no famine. If there's no war, that means no one's mind sick. So populations just go poof and explode, completely explode, you know. And war, disease, and famine are definitely they're the biggest players outside of environmental problems of our population. If you look at humans like bacteria, so McKenna had it bang on the money when he said at any one given point we can only be half awake. So if you're on the right side of that fence, count your fucking chickens and enjoy yourself. You know, because otherwise it wouldn't make sense, would it? We wouldn't be wrecking the marble we've been given. We'd be well overpopulated. But we'd all be like hippies and really nice, but that also can't work, mate.
Yeah,
that's kind of
this beautiful utopia where everybody is awoken to the splendor of what they are. It could work in another world. This world currently, it couldn't work. It couldn't work because it's completely set up for it not to work. It's set up like a prison. What it is, that's how it's been set up for thousands of years. If you care to take the Anunnaki stuff seriously, and so I wonder, and I said in one video, I said, what would Aaron Berry be like if he was born on the dusty plains of Africa? How would he be? Would he still be an entrepreneur? Would he still be a successful person? Would he still be a very, very driven person? How much of the cultural nature-nurture maketh man? Why is it that all of my life I needed stimulation, and I looked around and I thought, what can I make of myself? When I make this, how can I achieve more? How can I go there? How can I get that? That looks like a nice car. How can I get one of those cars? I said to my old man when I was about 7 years old, I noticed that it always seemed to be old people that were driving Rolls Royces. And I said to him, why is it all old people that drive these Rolls Royces, Dad? And he said to me, he said, that's quite a good question for somebody your age. He says, when you get older, you'll know the answer to it. But in brief, it's because it's took them a long time to earn that sort of money, which these cars cost. And so I thought, well, okay then. And so what I started to do in my life was I can earn money with my hands and with my energy, but how much can I really earn just being me? Look around. Who wants to pay one person £1,000 an hour, just for, doing something mundane? Nobody does. So what I decided I need to do then, well, I need to get more hands doing it. And they will be an extension of my hands. And they'll earn twice as much money as I'm paying them. And so therefore, they'll be making me rich. It's a simple capitalistic perspective. And it's not fucking rocket science. It just is very, very simple. But the vast majority of people don't want to go there. They want to take the easy route. They want to take the easy route with absolutely everything. And so that's their prerogative. They can do that. But when people come to my site, this is my site. It's about me and my life. I can do and say what I want. And so I do. Yeah. And I don't give a fuck what anybody says about it because they're never going to change me because I know that my formula for me is perfect.
Yeah. And it's worked, obviously, thus far. It's obviously working with people because otherwise you wouldn't have an audience to speak, mate. Would you?
Yeah. No, that's right.
If it was that, is it now like 12 subscribers more than
14?
13?
14.
Like,
yeah.
14. I started watching it around probably like 6K.
Yeah.
So you've done some serious damage in the last 2 years on those figures. So it can't be all bad, mate, and it can't be all bad for the kind of community we have as well because it kind of points that people are coming here. After our first talk together, it was really one that people reach out on Skype, who had picked up various parts of our conversation and offered the chance to, go forth and speak about this. It was really nice. Chris reached out and was like, "Hey man, I'd love to have a chat with you sometime." Jonas reached out, and then some girl you never even had her on the show who stumbled in, and she's like, "Oh, I could answer your questions on astral projection. So if you ever want to have a conversation about that, drop me a line."
Yeah,
I couldn't fucking believe it, mate. But that's prime time traffic there.
So did you take up any of those offers?
I haven't because at the time I was going to have a chat with Chris. He had to go back for Christmas. All that stuff kicked off for me for Christmas, and we said we'd do it again in the new year. I haven't been watching a lot of YouTube lately. I'm just getting back to it now. I was actually just before I started watching Depictions of the Mind by actualize.org, where he's actually just talking about what we're talking about, the idea that do fears are all just complete illusions and stuff.
Yeah.
There was this one girl, Katja, I think her name is. Yes, we said we'd arrange a chat on, because we didn't get to touch on it a lot last time, but I want to pick your brain about sleep paralysis and various substances that you'd had in the past. She put it down there. Also, I seen your DMT videos with a guy over the period.
Yeah.
And I actually very recently just first heroic psilocybin dose strip, and it was actually the weekend prior to this. I think it'd be something good to talk about, mate, because I'm actually having a bit of a cool time with the action. Like, I was, I had this moment in the experience where I couldn't stand up anymore. This is it. I'm in for it. This is it. That's what Martin Ball talks about. He's like.
So what we're talking psilocybin, semi-lanceta.
No, Sensiata. No, that one. No, these ones I grew. Well, fuck. I mean, these mushrooms. I grew them myself. Right. Psilocybin cubensis.
Okay.
Ecuadorian strain. I've been doing these for a couple of years now, and I'm got quite comfortable with these ones. Right. I had Sensiata in Iceland, and flipped my fucking dick. It was one of the most beautiful visual experiences I've ever had. But this heroic dose, mate, was all in here. Eh? I ate the mushrooms just a little over 5.6. Because I couldn't get it down to bang on the money 5, and then I had that thing when McKenna says the danger is having too little and still having your suitcase with you,
Right, yeah.
when you're tripping. And this is where it kind of went wrong. And I expect many people in your audience here to write about this. The mushrooms, the dose came on so fast and so hard. I looked at my hands. I was trying to make a cup of tea, and I couldn't even finish making the cup of tea. I was like, I'm going down here. I am going down. The room had changed very quickly, and I lay down on the bed, and every time I tried to open my eyes, the weight of the psilocybin was just pushing me down into the mattress, and I was trying to don't scrunch yourself up into the fetal position. There's all kinds of energies running through you here, and I just couldn't do it. And so I turned over, mate, and I got straight into the fetal position. Pulled my blanket over my head, and I was like, right, I'm in for a fucking ride here. And it was just, first of all, it was very, very, DMT, like fractals and colors and everything. And then I don't know what time this was, Aaron. I mean, the whole thing must have lasted about 5 hours. Then at one point, I started to hear this ringing, like, boo. Like it was getting louder and louder and louder, and I was like, "Oh fuck me, Jonathan, you've done it this time, Nick." I was like, and at this point, I was having crazy thought loops, thoughts about family, thoughts about friends and people I loved. Just people I loved were just flashing through. Nothing bad, nothing bad at all. And this ringing that I actually sometimes hear, but before a sleep paralysis thought was getting really, really loud. And I was like, "Oh my god, I'm going to be like this forever, forever, forever." And I kept thinking this. I was like, "I'm going to be like this forever." Ever, right? And then I rolled over, and this is where it gets. This is just gonna. Oh, Jesus! All the colors stopped. Everything, fractals, all the flashing. I tried to open my eyes a little bit, looked across my mattress out into the hallway, and it looked like my entire flat was made out of hundreds of thousands of millions of red Lego bricks that were spinning around like this everywhere. And I was like, I've lost it. I'm gone. I couldn't even see my own carpet. It was just all this thing. And I rolled over, and I was like, my dad's going to find me like this. My fucking, my friends are going to find me on Monday, and I'm going to be dribbling, and I'm going to be that mess, and I'm going to be that one kid that took too much and didn't come back. And I started freaking out, and I was just laying there on my mattress. And then I thought to myself, well, if I'm going to be like this, I might as well try and just enjoy this, that I'm not coming back.
Yeah.
And I you know what I mean, mate? Because I was looking at infinity, and I was like, well, I can't sit thinking that my friends are going to be like, wow, that was Johnny, our friend, who's now, now he's just gone, he needs psychological help. So I thought, fuck this. If this is infinity, I'm going to roll over on my back. And I rolled over onto my back, Aaron. And then just this sudden a white light, like I've never seen a white light. It's like almost like someone would check your pupils, you know, and then total blackness again, just blackness, just complete blackness. My body was gone. I was, you know, shaking. I think at this point I even was like crying and laughing a little bit, and then I could see this golden ball in this black room. It was just a golden ball, looked like an atom. You know those things they sometimes draw in science, just golden, flipping around like this, really fast, really fast. And I was floating towards it, closer to it, and I was like, oh my god, this is it. I was like, this is it. That's that thing there. That's fucking it. But then I'd say to myself, well, what's it though? Why does this make sense? Why is it? You know? And I'd be like, but that's it. You know, as if like something that says, hey, this is what I'm aiming for. Yeah. Now you've had your look. Well, you can't process it because you're just, you know, you're inferior to this knowledge, even though it's probably you. And I kept saying that to myself. I was like, how can I be? Am I talking to me? Is that me talking to me? And at this point, I'd like lost all touch of my memories about being worried about my friends seeing me like this and everything. I just got to get closer to this little golden ball, burning and rippling and spinning around. And I was sitting in there, and I was just like, oh fuck, what is this? And started laughing. I was dribbling and crying, Aaron. I was just like all like this, and then bang, and then I opened my eyes, and it was just like I was back in sort of like 2 gram mushroom trip. You know, things were just breathing and wobbling, and I stood up in my bed and I went, fuck me, that was it. You know, I was like, whatever that was, and I don't know what it was. I know what it was, but I was like, I was reassured something that was it. That was what the whole year of building up to trying to do a heroic dose was. You've had a look now. I felt like, hey, you've had your look. Close the blinds. And my mattress, and I was laughing. I was like, oh my God, fuck me. Like, that was it. And this is hilarious that was it. And I was giggling away. And then it was kind of what, and I called a friend as well. I called a friend who, you know, who's also into this stuff, you know, and I buzzed like 5:30 in the morning. I was like, I'm sorry I've woke you up, but I have to tell you about this. He obviously jumped out of his bed and he was like, and listen, or on FaceTime. And I was still a little bit tripping, but, you know, I was perfectly, my ego had reassembled, you know. Yeah. All my thoughts had come back. I was no longer freaking out. I felt like I could remember my past and stuff. And I was like, I've just had an absolute ego shattering experience. And I've been one of those people who've been like, have I ever had an ego death? I've taken a lot of mushrooms, but I don't think I've ever had an ego death. Well, to anyone listening who's wondering if you've ever had an ego death, you'll fucking know when you've had an ego death. Like, all of reality is no more, but you are something with no memory. Mm-hmm. That's the best way English language can explain that. You are something with no memory of what you are before you went in, but that you are that something. And I was like looking at that golden ball, mate, and I must have got a glimpse at it for like 6 minutes. Being like, what is that? Always turning and turning and turning. Jesus, man, you know, Jesus, it was just absolutely insane. I'm very confused. Unlike any mushroom trip I've ever had, as the days have gone on, Aaron, I remember less and less. You know, normally I'm in the woods, or I'm just chilling on, like, I've had 2-3 grams and I'm just enjoying the visual therapeutic values of it. But this, mate, as the days have gone on, I've forgot less and less. And I didn't write any of it down shortly after because I was just too busy laughing and simultaneously crying and laughing. I couldn't believe my friend was like, "Are you all right?" I was like, I'm crying happy cries. Yeah. I felt like I'd been reborn. And when I came out of that black room again, one thing I can remember was like I took breaths this, like they were my first breath, mate. You know, and I was all sweaty, and I was just like, Jesus, I'm probably terrible people that are listening to this who are getting into this, but I think I can say this to some of them more, you know, the people who are really into this shit. And I was like, oh my God, I've just had a little look under the veil and been told to bugger off again quickly. And it was just like a rebirth. I mean, I don't feel any different to Johnathon, but I feel like I've had a little glimpse of a secret that someone then went, and then it's just told me to bugger off again. And it's been like a dream. It's been like a dream that's deteriorated, but you could remember parts of it. Never have I had a psychedelic time where I just could remember bits and pieces and stuff. It was more than that. It was more like, and it all started from that ringing. And as soon as I accepted that I was going to be this dysfunctional forever, how I perceived myself, that I was just going to be the kid in the paper who, who's now, God knows, in an asylum. As soon as I accepted that, like, it's almost like saying, "How, are you ready to die? If you're not ready to die, then you're holding on." And I was just like, as soon as I accepted it, I was like, bang, bang. The noise just dropped. The lights went white instantly in a black space, and I was like, "Oh fuck," It's just I'm having a hard time every day since then. Basically, I'm not having any problems with reality as such, but I'm having these little sort of like deep emotional thoughts that make me quite sad about what happened, and I can't explain it. It's almost like, Martin Bull says, once you've had a look at inside Pandora's box, you can't quite put the lid down again. So you've got to go forward with that knowledge. Now, I don't know what that knowledge was, mate. I can't explain the room or the golden ball. It wasn't like a room. It was just like a fucking like space, But just in the middle was this little golden thing that was just burning and spinning. And I just remember being like, "What is that? Is that this? Is that what controls this? Is that the light switch of the cosmos? Can't be explained." But this is my problem. So, leading up to your DMT experiences, that was an ego death, because there was nothing left for me to remember after I admitted I'm scared of never seeing my dad again, and I'm scared of never speaking to my brothers and sisters, and I love these people, and I admit I love them, but admitted that I probably will never be like this again. Then I got the veil lifted, man. The veil, I just got that little peek for a little moment of time, and I can barely remember fucking any of it.
Yeah. And so everybody speaks about different experiences and different visuals, and the general emphasis of these trips is that you don't have a body, and you don't remember anything. You just are awareness and everything, and the ego died, but then people come back. And I ask, what's the significance of that? Why do people always bang on about it? Did you have ego death? And did this and did that? Yeah. You see, many times in things I've done, I've been in a realm whereby I'm just pure awareness. I don't know I've got a body. You're just so far somewhere else that a fucking body is the last thing on this planet or in that dimension that you're going to think about. But I don't get this, or I haven't done this yet. Someone said to me, "Why don't you ever talk about your bad trips?" I don't get bad trips. I'm comfortable when I'm in this bizarre stuff, and I'm looking around and I'm observing and I'm trying to work it out and stuff like that. I'm not feeling terrified about my own mortality, and I can't help thinking that it's because that I don't have those level of fears that most people do, because all of the people that talk about these ego death, they all say how I'm terrified, and then once I let go, then I was okay. Well, I'm never terrified. I always let go, and so therefore I have the terrifying aspect of it and the wrenching of me apart and stuff like that. On one DMT the other day in bed, I took this huge straw. It was almost about 100 mil, and I didn't remember exhaling. I didn't remember nothing about the body. I was in this DMT world and everything, and I was just on a fucking emotional, sexual roller coaster ride. And it was showing me something absolutely beautiful, and it was the almost the exact same thing when I was open-eyed in nature. And so Leo Guru, selfactualized.org, he was saying about 5-MeO, and he's saying it's the most, and he went on, really, give it the big one for about 30 times. It's the most incredible, amazing thing, blah, 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 blah. However, about a week after, or 2 weeks after, he was packing his car up and traveling like 200 kilometers to Arizona, because he booked into this log cabin in the middle of this very boring pine tree forest in wintertime. So it was very Spartan, but he was looking for enlightenment. Hang on. You just had amazing, 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 amazing. And yet, you still pack up all your shit. You drive 200 Ks to spend a whole fucking week just meditating 24 hours a day because you're looking for enlightenment. What's gone on, Leo? And this is what I ask to people. What's gone on, people? And when they talk about breakthroughs and when they talk about ego death, I go, so you don't look any different. You don't sound any different. You can't make head nor fucking tail of what you've seen. Everybody sees something different. So what's the significance of it?
Yeah, I'm curious.
Yeah.
But I still think, I don't think you can expect to gain, I hate that word sometimes, mate, enlightenment, because I think it just gets chucked around willy-nilly, you know? I think just because you got a peek at something, maybe, I don't know what I believe, but I believe in something, you know, mate, right? I think, this has been, what is it? It's like 5 days ago this happened to me, right? So, I think I got a little glimpse under the veil, right? Because I think that's what I've been trying to do, right, for this last year, working with psilocybin.
Yeah.
I think that's what. So I think I just had the moment where I was ready, and the thing was just like, okay, here's your glimpse. That's all you fucking getting, because any more, and you just won't be able to comprehend your basic life. You know, I felt like that's how it went for me. So I don't expect to find enlightenment there, mate. I'm just holding my hands up. I was just bloody curious.
Yeah,
bloody curious about what everyone's banging on about. So.
Yeah, that's right. And it doesn't matter how many times you listen to people banging on about it. They still get up and they still go to work the next day, and they can still fucking cuss and all the rest of it. And so I just don't think it means anything in this dimension. It's a nice experience, and all the experiences that I've had, and I've had probably something like half a dozen of these peeping through the veil and seeing something which just blew my fucking mind. But what does it mean? What has it left me with? You know there's something else going on. You can't figure out what. And then, you know, whether it's on a mushroom or Amanita muscaria or an astral projection or DMT, they're all very, very different. And so I just think that we will never, ever, ever make anything of it.
Oh, God, no.
And, you know, people like Terence McKenna, I don't know how many trips he had in his life, but he didn't make anything of it either. And apparently, so Paul was telling me that he was petrified of dying in the end as well. So did he gain enlightenment? Was he really awoken? If he still had this egoic attachment of having taken all of those trips?
Totally. Well, I was actually, first of all, it hasn't done anything for my anxiety. In fact, I'll be honest here, since we're doing this for the greater sake of the community, anyone listening, actually, guys, my anxiety has actually been considerably worse since I've done this. Because I distinctly remember a moment of infinite madness and thinking that could be all it is after this. Yeah. And if it is that, trust me, no one fucking wants that. I'd take anything else but that. The other thing was Martin Bull, the PhD guy I'm into, you know, the Toad Man. He was saying that he thinks, for lack of a better word, that Terence McKenna was full of shit and never truly had a non-dual moment, right? So he says that he analysed a lot of his lectures and said, I don't see how Terence McKenna sounds like someone, a psychonaut that had a truly non-dual moment, as in went there without being Terence. Because he's coming back and talking about elves and shit, man.
Yeah, and I'm very inclined to agree with you, because all this hype about Terence McKenna and he says this and he says that, and you see, Guy and I, we've made videos about the breakthrough and the ego death and this, that, and the other, and he's had experiences whereby you know, like yours, and you know, completely obliterated this, that, and the other. And Terence McKenna talks about the breakthrough when you break through this mandala or this veil, and then you're on the other side, and then the elves are talking to you, and then this and then that. Hang on. Who is it that's retrieving all this information? Yeah. It's your memory, it's your ego, so you're completely in touch with it, you're completely intact. So don't talk about ego death. Don't talk about breakthroughs. Because this is what I experience most of my trips. When I go through, I still got an ability to go, what are you? What am I? A little bit, Yeah. Initially, you're just completely somewhere else. But then, as it starts to fade away, you're like, okay, right, what are you? What's the message? This sort of thing. And
you know what, mate? Talking about it is actually, this is really helping, because I think I agree with you, and I think that Terence. I also think Terence. Let's be great. As much as we all love him, and a compassionate speaker, a charming man, clearly, and his rhetoric and grasp of the English language was like second to anyone I listened to. Right?
He was like a poet, and this is why.
Exactly.
He had a very unusual delivery, a very distinctive voice, and I think that's about where it ends, because the book he wrote, the first book, it was so mundane. It was incredible. I was vastly disappointed.
Which one did you read there, mate?
The one where he's talking about the origin of psychedelics and this and the other.
Is that food of the gods or something?
Food of the gods, yeah.
I think
crap.
I read some. See, when I was going to buy my first McKenna book, I went on Goodreads and sort of said, "Fuck me, it's going to be tough reading, so I better get some recommendations." And everyone who was reviewing Food of the Gods was like, "Don't fucking bother your ass with this, because he just makes it more complicated than his idea had to be." But I did pick up True Hallucinations about his time down in the Amazon rainforest when he was a teen, and not a teenager, but like a young man in his 20s. And Dennis McKenna got that psychosis for about 28 days. Do you ever hear about this? You and Paul talked about it once.
Yeah.
I did pick that up, and I thought it was a fascinating narrative, because it's the story of, he has this crazy tribal stories of DMT and ayahuasca and giant mushrooms in the Amazon rainforest. But it didn't educate me anymore, or further my knowledge into understanding psychedelics. In fact, at one point in the book, he starts banging on about UFOs. So I think Terence may have just been one of the greatest storytellers, Aaron. And that same thing goes into his lectures, mate, when he's got an audience. He's giving these lectures out like fucking 4 or 5 times a month, to young people, inquisitive people that are curious about trying psychedelics, and maybe some going the whole fucking way. So I think he just spins this, I don't want to call it lies, because I don't know, maybe it was all true. But I just think he was just a crafty, charming, amazing storyteller. Like, I've had many people say they never seen some fucking DMT elves, man. Never.
Yeah.
Never. You know what I mean? Many people have said to me they're crazy into the psychedelics and ayahuasca, but they never communicate with spirits, maybe energies, but not physical, grab you by the bollocks people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And maybe that's my subjectivity, but
I've yet to see entities on anything.
I don't think, definitely I don't think I've seen, entity, definitely an energy, or like the trippy bit with the trip I told you about was the fact that every time I said this was it, I'd be like, but why am I saying that's it? And what is it? So I got in this loop of pinging that back at myself.
Yeah.
Feeling like I understood it, but the mind didn't understand it.
That's right. I think it was on my second DMT when I'm talking about this Y chromosome with coloured M&Ms on it. I was under the impression that was me. I was all that there is, this solipsism thing. I felt it so profoundly. But one thing always has made me curious. When people talk about it's all love. And hitherto I have said, well, I've never experienced it's all love, and in any shape or form, in anything that I've ever experienced.
Okay.
But because I am of this chilled, very content disposition now, and I say in my videos lots of occasions that sometimes I wake up in the middle of the night feeling absolutely blissful. My mind is so expansive and clear and empty, it's wonderful. And I feel myself, and I'm so happy and content. I'm in good shape. Okay, I look after myself, and I've not got no illnesses, and so okay, I've got a lot to be grateful for. But I'm just so happy about this place and what I've done for myself. And so, if you are like that, then you are getting close to a very deep level of contentment, which has to be in the realm of love somewhere.
For sure.
And so when I took my open-eyed 3-4 trips in the woods, then I was looking and I was given a mind orgasm. Looking at the trees, they're showing us how beautiful they are and being very suggestive. And at one stage I went like that, because that's what it was telling me. You know, there was no faces there or in this particular one, and nothing going kind of like really spooky, fucking around with you. I've heard people talking about this, why they do this top thing, but when I did it, I knew it was a sexual connotation. It was a very kind of saucy thing. And I just like, I'm feeling like fucking weird doing it, like I'm some sort of a DMT thing myself. Why am I doing that to the trees when they're all doing this and everything? But it does that. It fucks with you sexually. And then when I had the closed one in bed, it took me through an orgasm in the mind. An absolute fucking ride, roller coaster ride, up and down. And it was everything. And then at some stage in it, I said, so what's the message? And it went, that's the message. And I went, fucking hell. Wow. And so what I'm saying is then, I believe all the things that we experience are stemming from our deep-rooted unconscious. Because how can we experience anything outside of ourselves?
Yeah.
Look at it logically. Look at it rationally.
Yeah. No, I see what you're saying.
How do you get outside of yourself, which is pure consciousness? How does pure consciousness get outside of pure consciousness? It's not possible. We don't even know what fucking consciousness is for a start, but when you are privy to stuff, you have to know that it's all you. If we say that every single thing in the universe is this consciousness and it's all us, yes, I'm an acceptance for that. So therefore, depending on your disposition, you're going to experience whatever facet of it. And like Guy, he took 100 mil when he was really low the other day. Personal issues, he thought, fuck it, I'm going to take this DMT and see what happens. And
is that a lot of DMT, 100 mil?
100 mils, yeah, it's a good one.
Okay.
It's supposed to be just, you're going to blast off, you're going to break through every single time.
Okay.
He was fighting with archons.
What are archons?
Negative energies.
Okay.
Coming to attack him to take away something, but he didn't know what it was. And he kept saying, you're not having it, you're not having it, you're not having it. And then even when he came out of it, he saw them in the walls and the energy all around. And he's like, you're not having it, I'm keeping it, you're not having it. And all this sort of thing. And...
wow, that's crazy, huh?
Well, it sounds crazy, but without... You think
it's like energy, his vibration was low and it brought these things over?
What it was about, without giving away the finer details, because it's not my position to do it.
Okay.
It was a mirror image of what was going on in his life.
Right. Okay.
And so...
this projection of this, yeah.
When I'm feeling so blissful and contented, and I love... the whole world, save for humanity, for the better part. You see, I can't find objection with the world, because the world and all its creatures, they are designed to do a specific thing. All the animals, they're designed to do a certain thing. And if a snake, is slithily sneaking through the bushes and like it grabs hold of a rodent or something, it's doing what it's supposed to do. And all the other creatures know that it does that. But the human being, you see, because we have such a broad spectrum, you never know what the human being's going to do. And the human being can give you one face to beguile you and deceive you, and then it will do something else. And this is what I don't like about the human being, because they're duplicitous. They're sneaky, they're conniving, they're contriving, they're fucking based on evil, given the circumstances. And so this is why I don't like the human being, to be fair.
Whoa.
They're not honest. The human being is the devil. I think even the devil has more honesty than the human being, because the devil tells you, I'm the anti-fucking God or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, I'm temptation, but the human being, he can tell you it's God and then act like the fucking devil.
Yeah.
I won't listen to any bullshit about fucking New Age love and it's all love and we're all love. Look around the world, people. Look through history, and you'll see the devil. The white fucking devil.
Yeah, totally, absolutely, man. I mean, that's crazy. You can look at you said something there. What was it? You said you can look at the human. He can tell you he's God, but he's really the devil. Yeah. But surely he can also tell you he's the devil and really be God, right? Because that's all got to be one facet of trickery. You know, the yin and the yang. You know, if the yin and the yang is truly the essential, you know, blackness and light, and that is true balance, and if they say that we are all that one consciousness, then of course you are both the devil and God.
Yeah.
You know, Carl Jung, the shadow self, must embrace him too to be truly equal.
Absolutely, and this is what I say throughout all of my videos. Embrace the both, you are both.
Yeah, exactly right. That makes so much sense, yeah? So maybe as much as it is about, you know, trying to be, you know, honesty is a big thing, and, you know, love is a big thing, and God knows, you know, there we go, use this, the term God knows, but it's just expression. But surely also deviance is also a big part of the mystery and the origins of human life. As you say, look back through history, it's actually quite disgusting.
Yeah.
In fact, it's disgusting on every page, I'd say.
We're a disgusting creature.
You know? Alan Watts said something in this lecture called The Veil That Conceives Reality. The Christian idea, this may offend some viewers here, I hope not, but I surely give a quote out, guys.
I hope it does.
He said the Christian ideals of heaven is almost as abominable as the Christian ideals of hell. You know?
Yeah.
He said both those things are disgusting.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
They're terrible. And no wonder children are frightened at the idea of both religion and hell. You know?
Yeah.
You know, who the fuck would want to spend an eternity in heaven if it is like it is? If it's like it is in textbooks, you know?
Yeah.
And you're going to be judged upon entry, and you're going to be, you know what I mean? But obviously at the same time, the idea of being scorned for the rest of your life is terrifying as well. That's evil in a sense to tell somebody that, isn't it?
Yes,
you know?
It's all an abomination. And so, who created this? Humans created this to imprison and to put anybody that's gullible enough into the bondage. What sort of a creature does that? There isn't another single creature on the planet that will do something like that.
It's true, yeah. And what and also get enjoyment out of it, mate.
Yeah,
absolutely. I think. What's the word for when someone gets sort of like who plays on the idea of like watching someone get into pain? Is it vindictiveness? Is that the word? I don't know what it is. When you call someone vindictive, that means they try to plot for bad scenarios. I think I don't know.
Yeah.
Something like that, right? But like Martin Bull was saying that the easiest way to look at life is that if you look at everyone as a God consciousness. Not the beardy weedy laying on a cloud with a white beard, but as the God consciousness, then you've got to find the humor in watching the consciousness do that to itself. Be that war, murder, crime, disease. Surely that's the basis of the cosmic giggle, that whatever this thing is manifesting itself, both sides simultaneously, and maybe this is one big entertainment gig for this one God consciousness. Unfortunately, we're the poor bastards that play out individual roles, God knows how many times, in it. It was just one flick. That's a scary thought, mate, in itself, because there's got to be something to that. Because if you don't believe in the idea of creation, whether you get your views on creation from the biblical terms and scriptures or whatever, or you just have the spiritual side of being like, I believe in some sort of, something had to do this, Because like you said earlier, man, the fucking chances and chances and chances and chances of random chemical reactions just happen to be in nothingness that happen for nothingness. That's too far out. So whatever the creator is, you know, we defy language, is doing everything for the enjoyment of itself. Surely.
Yeah. Yes.
Why it wouldn't be, you know, you wouldn't have, you know, people starving in countries where they can't grow food and tsunamis hitting wealthy countries if it wasn't all for the basis of the giggle of the, you know, the creator.
Yeah.
And that's terrifying, man. These are things that I've been reading into, like, yeah, this Martin Bull guy says a lot about that. And I think McKenna touched on the idea, if you really look closely, it's just that same thing playing out on itself every time. You know, obviously we have the ego form of that, so we feel the pain and the empathy and the lust and the passion and the disease. We're bang in the middle. We're the actors rather than the observer. But surely whatever creation is has the ability to play with all this at any point, but does not do that.
Yeah.
So it's just doing this to itself.
That's
crazy.
It to itself, or it's just being itself.
Which is being itself, yeah, sure. Sorry, yeah, being itself, probably a better way of putting it, and probably a little bit less morbid.
Okay, so have a look at it from this perspective then, because this is what I try to encourage people to think about, that we are not this one entity, this one ego, this one brain, this one anything. We are everything. And I think it was Psych Substance. He took DMT whilst looking in the mirror, and he saw the manifestation of hundreds of creatures in the reflection. And I instantly have a great alignment with that. Yes, of course. Because we are everything. We have the potential to put our consciousness anywhere we want to if we train ourselves enough. Now, I'm always talking about this multifaceted gemstone, that what we do is we turn one facet to present ourselves or it to a given scenario in life. Now, most people, they only have a few options to turn this because they're not very creative. So they'll have one for work, they'll have one for their partner, they'll have one for the kids, and they'll have a couple others, you know, whereby they can, you know, feel some variety of stimulation within themselves. But if you take yourselves around the world, and if you find yourselves in some of these mud buildings in Afghanistan, and you picture yourself there living, being one of those people that actually was born into that environment and grew up there with that culture and that religion and that stifling, overbearing suppression of clarity of thought. If you put yourself there, look at how you see the world. Just simple, something pretty simple that we can all do. Just put yourself in any African country and look at the television when you're sitting in this pisshole of a place. Most of us have seen what African people live like, and well, there's different degrees, but let me just elaborate for the benefit of the people so they can know what I'm talking about. The vast majority of the African dwellings are just concrete blocks with a tin roof, and very, very basically Spartan inside, often without light. They go to a water hole for water, and they've got some sticks of furniture that they've been imported secondhand from fucking China or something like this. This is how lots of the Africans live. Now, I've been there, and within these some of these abodes, that they have televisions, and I had relationships with lots of these African women, and I always used to want to go back to where they live because I want to know the creature I'm dealing with. When you'd meet them, they'd be all dressed in their finery. They'd be looking absolutely gorgeous, with the hair extensions, false hair, and the false nails, and all the makeup, and all the, the jewelry, and the little skirts, and great bodies, and everything like that. And what you'd usually do is you go back to your Western joint, your big plush apartment with a hot piping shower and a huge bed and all this stuff. But if you have the inclination and you got the stomach for it, you go back to where they live, then you'll see a whole different reality which you'd never ever considered. Get in a taxi, go back through the ghetto where there isn't a single light, there isn't no fucking tarmac, it's up and down in dusty, potholed fucking roads, sometimes covered in sludge and water and everything, and then you get out because the taxi can't go any further because you got to walk through this labyrinth of nasty little fucking mudden alleyways, but by this tin pan alley thing, and then you get to her little fucking shed, and it's got a little lock on it like this, and she's got a little key. It's like a suitcase lock, and goes inside it like that and lights a fucking candle, man. And then there's some sort of fucking rags and a bit of foam on the floor, which is the bed, and then a few suitcases and clothes piled up. That's the reality. And then when you can see the world from someone's perspective like that, imagine,
game changer.
Imagine what a fucking game change.
Yeah.
And then people getting out of bed here one morning thinking, I'm bored. Yeah. I'm fucking fed up because I've not got this and I've not got that.
Yeah.
They need to fucking travel, man. They need to experience this stuff. And these girls, they're going out night after night after night to fuck for money to survive.
Smart.
Absolutely incredible. And they're the lucky ones. The guys can't do that. The guys, what do they do for money? To put food in their mouths. This is going on all over the world. People should have a broader expanse of mind and consideration and realize how blessed our particular consciousness is for choosing this particular, one of the richest countries on the planet. Got everything.
Yeah.
No fear of no fucking disease, malaria or tuberculosis or malnutrition or any number of things. You know? Yeah. It's all about perspective, at the end of the day, Jonathan. And so when you can look at the world via somebody else's eyes, and then you think, well, how did it happen that my consciousness is behind my eyes and not behind somebody in an African ghetto?
Yeah. Yeah, totally.
How the fuck does that work?
Well, perhaps you have what you have been before, you know. You don't, like, I mean, there's nothing to say, unless we face as people total annihilation. That word's always coined a lot in the Bible, but if you really think about that, like what annihilation would mean, unless you face complete nothingness after this life, then the chances are that this energy just renews itself. And so there's the likelihood of you having had a life or having a life under much, much poorer or even richer circumstances would be quite likely, right?
Absolutely. To have our consciousness come back in any other life form.
That's what I mean. That's what I meant by the rock thing. The rock thing I said earlier is like you could come back for fucking 250 million years as some kind of ignorant rock. Yeah. But it's just a blessing to be in the human form, maybe this is all just complete stuff.
Yeah, I don't know, you see, because when I'm down on the beach and I see the beautiful life these seagulls have, I watch them throughout the whole year, from the mating season through the young ones, and then the fledglings, and then they become adults, and I watch the whole cycle around this amazing, beautiful coast, and I look at that and I'm thinking, well, that's one of the things I'd seriously consider if I had the opportunity to choose. One of these beautiful, graceful birds flying around in this temperate weather with an abundance of food and no predators. absolutely beautiful.
Dude, I've often said this, man. Like if if I'm coming back, I'd take the chance to be sort of like, a graceful top predator. You know what I mean? Maybe without the ability to, write music and listen to music and stuff and all the beauty, the things that come with being human. But, there are other things you come back as, mate, like life, like existence is fleeting, and, they're probably great ways to spend that. I mean, I was chatting to, I think, Dom quite some time ago, and he was saying something in one of his videos about like the idea of if you ask someone, would you like to come back again? If so, as what, if who, if where? And he said that many people he's asked that question to would say, just like to come back as me again and try that all again,
Right.
And I was thinking about this the other day. I was thinking, what would be the benefit of coming back as me again? Because given the fact that you probably end up drinking the waters of forgetfulness before you come back in, what can you change again? It's going to come down to pure chance.
Well, this is the whole thing about the reincarnation. We keep having to come back until we gather up enough wisdom. If you look at it kind of from that perspective, then what we are doing here on this site is we're asking all these existential questions, aren't we?
Yeah.
Which is far over and above the vast majority of the world's inclination. They haven't got the time of day for any of these questions. They find them fucking purposely, amazingly boring, and any number of adjectives like this. But we find it absolutely fascinating. And so what I'm going to posit here then is that we're old souls, so to speak. We've been back 1,000 times before, and little by little we kind of remembering, because doing these psychedelic trips, doing my meditation and astral projection, I'm gathering up a broad spectrum of what I am. I'm consciousness in its entirety. Look what I can do. I can go into this realm, I can go into that realm, I can experience this, I can experience that. I can think so much more broadly and expansively than a lot of people here. Why is that? What on earth is that? Why us?
Yeah. Why that half,
Yeah.
It's crazy, actually. Yeah, but maybe there's something in that. I like to think about those sorts of things, like the idea of being an older soul or whatever. And I know there's a lot of this new age stuff where some people are like indigo this and some child that and old soul that, and but I don't know, maybe I think there's something a bit more to this idea of like, maybe it is a one big learning curve from whatever you're cut out to be, and you get that a little further every time,
Yeah.
Or how far you get is very dependent on how much you've changed in the progression you lead up to it,
Yeah.
So, sorry, mate, my headphones are giving me some technical. Can you say something?
Yeah. Test.
They're a bit fucked, eh? That's better. Yeah, can you now?
So one thing I often talk about is whenever I visit castles, I've always been fascinated by this level of historic building. Castles all around the world, and churches, cathedrals, something that's 1,000 years old, something like this. I'm drawn to it. I'm mesmerized by it. I feel entirely comfortable within any of them. I have to have physical contact with as much as I possibly can. Literally, I'm like a blind person around. You're getting a boner, touching these sandstone rocks and everything, and all the carvings, and marveling at them and everything. And so what I'm seriously speculating is that I've lived plenty of times within those realms, within that period, in these varieties of buildings. I'm so comfortable, I'm ecstatic, and in my fantasies even today, I always fantasize about if just living in one of them. A huge sandstone stately home, which is 500 years old, or a castle, 2,000 years old, whatever, something like that. And so I think there's lots to be said for why do you have
such attraction to those things?
Yeah.
Yeah, completely, man. I think I'm a lot like that as well. I think I think I might have done something that was sort of like quite a lonely thing to do before, because I just always think, you know what, I'm just going to bugger off, and just say ciao to this and go and, be a bit of a hermit somewhere and find an idealistic life. And as much as that sounds lonely and a bit sort of like into the wildy, I've always felt an appeal to that, this idea of just being like, once. I'm not someone who like this. I'm not someone who's had the appeal to have kids, for example.
Right.
I've never had I know a lot of friends who are like, yeah, in a couple of years I'd love to settle down, have some kids. I don't get none of that, mate. And if I try to think like that, I've got to be honest and say I think I'm forcing myself to think like that. Right. So that's not something I've ever done before.
Well, that's curious as well, isn't it? Why do you have this disposition?
I have this disposition that I should just go and just be a hermit somewhere and be really, truly happy.
Yeah. Well, you see,
if that would even bring happiness, I don't know, but a bit cheesy, maybe.
Just briefly, one of my viewers, he always reflects like I do about the medieval upon the samurai warrior and Japan and that Asian culture, and he does it very often and has done it for years. And so this is Andre, the guy that I Skyped with a couple of times. And so there's definitely more than meets the eye to all this stuff.
Yeah,
but you see. When people consider
morphic resonance, remember that?
Morphic resonance, yeah,
maybe a bit of that.
It's all this ever-pervasive connectedness.
This permanent memory bank in nature, or that's what Rupert Sheldrake says, right? But what's that other thing they have called? Is it the Akashic? The Akashic Records. The Akashic Records. Isn't that something similar? Like where every memory of every existence has ever been stored.
Yeah. And,
constantly unfolding and developing again,
Yes, and I believe, and lots of people do, that every single word spoken, every single thought either derives from the Akashic Records, or if it doesn't derive from there, if by any chance there's something new under the sun, then it will go there. And so Paul and I, we used to talk about this when we were walking through this park on our many excursions. Talking, and we'd be the only people in the park, really. The park is huge, and we'd look around from the top of this mount, and there'd be a couple of people walking their dogs. And it's like, it's incredible. There's 1.5 million people in that city 5 miles away, and yet we're here on Rome. What's the purpose of it? Why are we saying all this stuff? What's the benefit, other than to you and I, we'll gain a little bit of knowledge, and so what? What does it mean? And we posited that maybe it's because that we are just doing what consciousness wants to do. It's exploring itself, and all these thoughts that everybody is thinking, then they are going into the Akashic Records.
Yeah.
Just like the Google cerebral cortex now. It's a form of Akashic Records because in the Hindu writings, they say the Akashic Records is all around us. It's in the ether. But it's only been in recent times, last 20 years or something, that we now... so you can go back, say, 100 years to Marconi with radio waves, and so you've got information traveling through the ether. You can't fucking see it, taste it, touch it, but it's there. Now,
absolutely, man. With
this Wi-Fi, we're surrounded in it. That there isn't a single particle around us that doesn't contain information.
Isn't that crazy? I've always been baffled by that. You mean there's movies and music just fucking floating around?
Yeah.
And all I need is a fucking internet connection, and then I can just you mean that there's everything. It's they say that the human spectrum of light, we see 1 billionth of it.
Yeah.
1 in 1 billionth of it, right? So think about that, X-rays, gamma rays, infrared. Fuck knows what else, but those are all very real depictions of light, right?
Yeah.
They're all here. And it's only the viewing lens that changes for you to see them. And here like you said, with music floating around, when Rupert Sheldrake's talking about if you make a crystal, try to crystallize something new in one country, fuck it off to all the scientists in other parts of the world. They do it in way less than half the time. And he's like, that's because the memory that this has happened in nature is then put into the ether again.
Yeah.
And so making the chemical and crystallizing it again into a crystalline, it just happens so much quicker because the knowledge of how to is done.
That's right.
That's jumped out into whatever this is, mate.
Yeah.
Isn't that absolutely mad?
It is mad. And when you look at like the astral realm and the DMT realm, these realms are fucking real as. When I take DMT in nature and I see the trees all turn into cartoon with faces and figures in them, anything like this, like that.
Fucking crazy.
Yeah, just faces that don't mean anything. Just like, it's not like, we're going to come and get you. None of that. It's just going, look, there's people in here. There's different creatures with faces and everything. It's all going on. You take this stuff, you go in there, and you come back out of it. What happens is your brain gets fucking titivated somehow. You go into another realm of your own consciousness whereby you see more stuff. So every single atom around here is full of information bursting to the seams.
Mad.
Because there's everything going on around us all the time. I was watching something the other day, and this is really curious. It's called Black. Have you heard of Black Goo?
No, I haven't.
Okay, it's something interesting to look into. People, you might want to do that. Black Goo. Now, it's Black Goo. Scientists have been on the case, I think, for about 50 years about this stuff. And this black goo, the Earth, has the incredible ability, being able to make manifest absolutely anything, potentially. Basically, what they're saying is that when they've got the ability to be able to program this black goo, it can morph in and out anything. It's got the information to. For instance, if you put all the DNA of a human being into it, then this black goo has got that, and it can manifest into a human being. It can manifest into some sort of a car. Like these transformers, where these big robots are transforming into all this and that. There are videos on YouTube now. This is what this black goo potentially will be able to do.
Black goo, man. I need to make a Google it. That's amazing, huh? So it's almost like pure awareness. Pure form.
It's just pure intelligence, and because it's got the ability to manifest into anything. I know how it works. I've not looked into it a great deal, and there's not that much really known about it, I don't think. But basically, they're saying that due to the volume of intelligence within this, I guess it's a bit like a quantum computer. If you take, say, like a portion of this, what they call dark matter or dark energy, the shit that's in that is absolutely incredible, and it's all around us. Yeah, and scientists are even saying that 1 squared cube of this dark matter it's got so much energy in it that it can evaporate every single ocean on the planet. That's the energy we're talking, which is stored in everything that you breathe. In that, it's all around dark energy, dark. It's what 96% of the universe consists of. Yeah. And so, when we only know what 4% of the universe consists of, 96%, which we haven't got a fucking clue, then why don't we just resign ourselves to absolutely everything is possible? Why should it not be possible? What
absolutely.
the fuck do we know?
Absolutely, I think that's crazy, man. That's crazy. Have you ever heard of Danny Nemu? He's written a book called The Neuro Apocalypse, and where there's a little part in that book where he's like, the reason we have such a fucking hard time coming to terms with things like dark matter, dark energy, whatever you want to call it, is because you've given it the name dark matter, dark energy, which of course means fuck. You could have called it rosebuds, but without knowing what a rosebud was, would still be like, yeah, that rosebud shit, that's the creator of all. It's like, it's just the term. We're instantly beaten the identity we give it. So we call it dark energy, dark matter. It might not be dark at all, for example, to be on the light one here. It means fuck, just a term. It's like atoms. Atoms means nothing. It's just a negate. Yeah. It could be anything. But we think atoms behave like this. But that's not what it is. It's just a name.
It's like the Dark Ages. Well,
they're
considered dark is because no information about them. And so this is why it's called dark matter. But what's always curious to me is why society or the powers that be always lend themselves to speaking this variety of rhetoric. Why couldn't say it's the all potential of the universe matter? Wouldn't that be far more invigorating? Wouldn't that be more stimulating to scientists? That you know, the all-encompassing intelligent universe. Well, fuck me, let's see what's in it then. Rather than it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Oh, there's nothing there.
Yeah. Yeah, that's scary, huh? That is scary.
So we're up to 1 hour and 50 minutes, would you believe? And so I think it's best that we wrap this one up before 2 hours.
Yeah, totally, man.
It's been a very invigorating and stimulating conversation.
Yes, it's been a good one. Thanks, man. That's really cool.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you.
Yeah, just come back to that, right? Last thing. Do you think that like diseases can't be cured because they memorize the past to try and cure them, and they just change? Am I wrong about that? Is that just even scientifically proven? You know, there are some things we just can't seem to handle on. You know, various disease, and people say they don't take too many antibiotics because they're going to start working on you when you get sick, and then various food chaps need to be changed because the flu must be the same thing that it does in the occasion. It's like, hang on a minute, I have to change because they found a way to sort of neutralize me. Could that be why we battle things like that?
I think
what I'm saying might not even be scientifically proven. I think that someone write in the comments.
Without pissing on anyone's parade, what the human race knows now is absolutely nothing. And this next 20 years, 50 years, 100 years will be absolutely globally transforming to the degree that we absolutely will not be able to recognise. When they're talking about this stuff, this fucking black which can have the ability to manifest in anything, then it can create a human being, and it can create a leg if one gets cut off, or your fucking head if it gets cut off, because it just has this fucking ability of doing it. So this world is becoming so immensely incredible.
Yes. So amazing.
All the stuff's going on. It is fucking. It is just challenge our minds because we're completely out of our depth. We're getting to the point now whereby the whole world is because we can communicate so well. The 7.5 billion brains have come together alongside computers, which the quantum computer now thinks 20,000 times faster. That's this moment in stage. It's probably going to think 100,000 times faster in a month's time. It's this sort of thing. And so when we're dealing with that sort of level of intelligence, then what the fuck are we supposed to make of it all? And then what do? We're in this pathetic realm of distance where we're struggling to buy groceries, and we can't escape our fucking slavery. We're brilliant things. There's absolutely brilliant here, and it's been reduced to this mundane, husk, automated nothingness.
It's mad. We're all that same thing as well. Sheer potential. Fucking for what? Right? Yeah. That's really got to be in everyone, whether it's recognised or it's fulfilled or not. And that's all kinds of crazy, man. All kinds of crazy.
Yeah. So lots of subjects there. So
loads.
Black goo people. In actual fact, I'm doing a bit more research on that myself because I might engage Paul with that subject. Yeah. Because it's.
You send a link, mate, over Skype in the chat to me.
Black gooing. I mean, it
didn't bring anything up.
Didn't bring anything up.
I googled a few. I didn't think about.
Oh, you googled it. You on a YouTube bit.
All right. Okay. It just sang about black energy. I don't know, blackle, whatever that is.
Yeah, let's have a look.
Okay. Well. I'll put it into YouTube anyway and have a look and see what that's all about. But.
Yeah, I'm just going to do it now, just for benefit as well. So, black goo, Goo, Okay, black goo conspiracy, black goo footage, black goo explained. Okay, all that sort of stuff. So
okay, yeah, I see stuff now. Yeah, black theory of everything.
Yeah. And so, yeah, you can see all this black shit in people's hands, and you see the crazy stuff you can make manifest into. So, yeah, have a look into that, people, and that'll blow your minds away.
Okay.
Yeah, brilliant. So, thank you very much, Jonathan. Amazing conversation. Liked it a lot. And do come back again. And if you're still available to engage with other people, then
yeah, I'd love to.
Yeah, there you go then.
Yeah, really, like that was one of the perks of last time. So anyone who wants to talk to me, I'd really enjoy it. Or anyone who has more knowledge of what my big trip was like, we mentioned earlier, I'd love to hear about any of that. So yeah, thanks for having me on, Aaron, man. Have a good night. Speak to you again soon.
Thanking you, mate. All the best. See you soon.
Bye.
Bye now.